at my feet when I am obsolete. 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 Obsolete.
The year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
You've been knocked down and got up again. In a corner, you're surrounded, no defenders. You've hid your fury and kept it in. But it's time now, you ignite and turn to embers. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Get ready for verse 2, Electric Boogaloo.
You see the truth behind the veil, and you know that they're just looking for attention. Oh, you don't let the ruthlessness prevail. Oh, it's time now, light your fires for ascension. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn. A thirst and desire, you
Hang plus tight. Good old URLs. Good morning, everybody. I figured instead of typing out a lengthy, oh, I'll get to it soon, I figured, hey, you know what? This is Saturday morning. Got my coffee, ready to go. Had a very, very stressful week at work, but you know what? That's all behind us, and we can look forward to the things that are to come. Good morning. In case you didn't know, my name is Soul, and this is I don't know what you would call this. I mean, I just want to chill and hang out and say hello, and I hope you're doing well, and I miss all of you. Pandemic sucks. Please get your vaccines. Anyway, it's not that hard. It really isn't that hard, but people want to make it that hard. But this isn't about that. This is about the status of the Renegade Roundup podcast. And I figured it would be important to talk about a couple of things about that. And first and foremost, it's not dead. It's not going away. I'm actually actively working on 2 episodes are in the, not in the bin, because that's if I'm throwing it away. But the term in production, there's a term with, because if I put it in the can, that means it's done. It's not done. If I put it in the bin, it's in the trash. It's not in the trash. I don't know what the word is yet this morning, and coffee's not helping me with that. I don't know jargon. That's okay. But you would think that I would with the job that I have. Let's before I get into the whole like podcasty type of stuff, let's just talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life and why. I don't know if people may or may not have noticed I'm not as active, or at least I try to stay busy. You know, no promises there. Got a job a couple months ago. Actually, end of May, beginning of June was when I was assigned to my current job. It is a up and coming class action settlement company. Let's hope that you never get to a point in your life where you have to fight to get a settlement check, because it's not a great process on how it all works, but that's part of my job. Is I am effectively the tier 1 in that system. And with that, especially since it is such a legally binding thing, it tends to have its own challenges. What I'm going to do real quick is, if I'm looking side-eyed, it's because I just want to see if chat is working on the actual URL, if everything's going on the actual URL portion of it. Let me double check something here. Just going to unmute this real quick. Yeah, no, that sounds fine. That sounds fine. Everything seems to be working. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop playing with that. I'm going to put that down. Yeah, so since it's a young company, we're talking like this particular company was only founded 5 years ago. And their first major breakout case was the Equifax settlement case. Now, you know, people that hear that on the news, it's just like, oh yeah, that's a lot of people that are affected, and simply a lot of people are going to get not a lot of money. You would think that it's simple, but it's really not. And there are several reasons for that. Primary ones of which is the powers that be that we at the company adhere to. That primarily being our 2 biggest clients are the Federal Trade Commission and EEOC. And they have a lot of things. There's a lot of, you know how you see in wrestling and celebrity contracts where it's like, think Andy Kaufman. Remember that scene in Man on the Moon where it's like, okay, but here are my terms. And then it's a whole like scroll of terms. Think that, but a lot more severe consequences. Um, think an organization that has as much scope as Mastercard for different reasons. Um, I think for legal reasons, I can't. Well, I mean, I've never signed a real NDA about it, so I don't know if there's like a punishment, whatever. But anyway, big thing. Long story short, that has been taking a lot of my focus, and that is really draining, especially having to commute about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how I-5 is doing that day, each way. And that can stack up after a while, and then I try to take what energy I have left from the day and focus that on podcast stuff. And that is a big reason that everything is the way that it is right now. Because here's the funny thing. By the time that I had filmed the last episode that came out, which was with Brian of How Much in Bison Dollars, that was, I already had 2 episodes completed and posted and scheduled, ready to go. And now I'm behind on that again. So part of what I wanted to do today is kind of show the process on how it is done. Now, this isn't the most effective process in the world, but it's the way that I found it works for me for right now. And let me go ahead and ping my guest and see when they'll pop up. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you effectively how the sausage is made for the Renegade Roundup podcast. Not a complete overall, just because like the way that the pieces are layered and all that. I'm not going to show you like start to finish. Well, I might be able to do something. I might be able to do something to like complete and round that out. But it's not like we're not going to spend 6 hours going through what it takes to make an episode of the podcast from beginning to end. That's not the goal here. The goal here is just to give a short summary, and talk about potentially the future of the Renegade Roundup, because I am only one person. I am I am captain and navigator of the ship. I am master and commander of the USS Renegade Roundup. And that can be a tough burden sometimes, especially when the other big thing. So I am actually lined up for a promotion relatively soon. Again, I'm one of those people. I'm very much a doubting Thomas. I'll believe it when pen is to paper and there's a placard with my name on it. But I do have a tentative transfer date of mid-October. Mid-October is when they are projecting that I will be on new assignment. I think that's probably the most gentle, least legally compromising way that I can say it. On assignment does not mean terminated. On assignment is transferred to a project that is in very early stages and is not even ready to go live yet with my company. See, I can hold NDAs. I can behave myself. But the other big part of that as well is after these 2 episodes are posted, the big announcement I want to say is that I may be putting that on ice for a while. And there's a few reasons for that. It has come to my attention that there may be other opportunities that can utilize the platform like Renegade Roundup. But in order to do that, I have to be honest with myself. This setup I have right now is not going to cut it for the vision that I have for how efficiently I want to do things. It's not for having a high quality product. It's not feasible to do so. Oh, give me just a moment here. It looks like we have mystery guest at the table. Oh, Mr. Supreme, sir, I'm getting a weird little error. It's saying appears to be using... Oh, yeah. They're very particular about you have to use Chrome, not Edge. It's really dumb. I'm sorry. Let me,
Am I getting picked up at all?
Are you hearing me?
I can hear you, but am I getting picked up at all?
Oh, you on the stream? I think I have desktop recording on. Let me just switch over to... Where is it? Was it the in-game? Yeah, let's do that. Ah! We're gonna see how that goes. Let me pop up a browser real quick. And we're just gonna see real quick. I'm pulling up the twitch.tv on my phone and say some things.
Sorry about the technical issues there, man. Like, I got this working last time to test the mic, and now it's not working again. Chrome will not open on my desktop for whatever reason. I'm going to have to tinker with that later. So this is the closest compromise I have at the moment.
That's very fair. You know what? Good news. It is actually picking up on the stream, so you are perfectly fine for right now for the purposes of this demonstration. So as I kind of...
right on.
Yeah, so what I kind of alluded to earlier is, and this will be a good preview for you as well, because when eventually a Season 2 of Renegade Roundup comes along, you will have in-depth knowledge on how this sausage is made. So,
Fantastic.
yes, good old hefty kosher sausage. By the way, how's your
And
morning going?
I do believe there was some talks of trying to get me on the podcast, so maybe Season 2.
Maybe Season 2, yes. And as I think you were probably in transition when I was describing some of the reasons as to why, but it's just like it's literally a one-man ship right now, and I'm already like way behind on what my personal goals on it are, and especially if I want to try to level this up, if you will. Some changes are need to be made, and right now I'm not in a financially viable or time sustainable spot to upgrade my hardware.
Yeah,
My
completely
presentation.
understandable.
So yes. So just to kind of give a small little idea, what usually happens, I will go ahead and name this Supremely Test Sentence. Just cuz. And so what usually happens is using a paid service like Riverside.fm. Normally, as those that dabble with podcast work probably know, getting audio to sync up and record and not being corrupted remotely is very difficult. But Riverside FM makes it easy. I just push this button, and everything is taken care of on my end. Isn't that fancy?
Schnazzy.
It's pretty snazzy. And then what usually happens is, so it's uploading on my end, and it's taking care of all the parts here. Again, I think normally you would not have this right here tinkering for another time. You know, the amazing thing as well is a couple of guests that I have been talking to as well. You know, we're looking at like the system restrictions more or less, because Riverside, unfortunately for right now, only works on Chrome browser and only works on iOS app. There is no Android app. There is no extensions outside of that circle. And I've noticed there are quite a few guests that I have wanted to have on this show that do not have either of those things. And it's like, that might be a problem.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's like I said, I'm just reiterating that it's not just you. So that's totally fine. So what usually happens is just to kind of can I actually view them while you're still on here? Probably not. I'll take a look at that momentarily, but another, I don't know if you're able to see the do you have the stream up by chance?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. So this fancy little thing over here is probably my favorite addition to Riverside FM. You may have heard certain little sound clips that play. That is cleaned up in post, but that is accessible on a soundboard in real time. So I can just have all kinds of fun with a guest. And this right here is like the single best addition to any like possible podcast service that I have seen. Is like, and the other amazing thing is it works with video as well. So think about getting like a group chat with people and having them like respond in real time to do I have to just get yeah, I have to just do that. Responding in real time to, say, a reaction video without having to use something like a movie theater app or something like that. How cool would that be?
Yeah, there's definitely the application there. That's very interesting. And even like you can even add in your own sound effects to that sound bar by the looks of it, eh?
Yes. These were all these ones on the bottom right here were all ones that I had added.
Wait a second. A new opponent has interrupted the tournament.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
The amount of fun that can just be had on this. Yeah, so I look forward to tinkering around with this a bit more, but especially with the just kind of looking at in comparison. Again, my even though I have a Logitech 4K camera, I understand lighting and exposure and all this other stuff to kind of make it look pretty, possibly a green screen down the road. It's getting the job done for right now, but if I'm wanting to level it up, that's not going to happen right now. So, but it is what it is. But while I have you on here, Mr. Supreme, plug and tell a little bit about yourself while we have you on Renegade TV on twitch.tv/SoulWrestles.
All right. Well, hey everybody. Good morning. Sitting here sipping my coffee, talking to Soul here. You might know me as Captain Supreme on Twitter, doing all that Street Fighter pixel art and other fighting game related stuff, and the odd meme.
Yes, he is also the genius behind my current avatar that I use on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and I think Twitch also has that fantastic portrait. I was just like, me, but as Mr. Satan. He's like, I got you. Fantastic. But yeah, no, I would love to have an opportunity to have you on as a guest in the future. And fun little thing, I'll just go ahead and sort of drop this a little bit. I've been talking a bit more with Brian of How Much in Bison Dollars after we had our session, and we had an idea for a show that we wanted to do. Where is it? I know this is not going to look great on the stream, but you know what? I'm not gonna hurt the eyes of the people on stream. I'm just gonna pull up the DMs on me phone. We had an idea for basically sort of a impromptu, like, let's just play fighting games sort of series. I think it called it something like Boot It Up or something like that.
I'm halfway on board already.
Because I think it was I call it's like just casually bringing up fighting games in conversation. Be like, you know what? Boot it up. We gonna play. Boot it up. It's pretty straightforward. It's just like, we talk about fighting games so much, but there's a lot of times where we do more talking rather than playing. So, and Fightcade exists.
This is true, but I haven't tried it out yet. Currently, I'm enjoying the benefits and lack of benefits of country internet, so it's kind of spotty here and there. So, like, streaming is something I can't really do. Like, this right now is okay. This doesn't take such a toll on my data.
Sure.
But a lot of stuff is pretty... I have to space it out pretty evenly.
That's very fair. I didn't realize that you were on a data cap. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to tack that on you.
Oh, it's okay. I wouldn't agree to it if it wasn't. But
That
yeah,
is
it's just
totally fair, sure.
one of the perks of living in the middle of nowhere.
You know what? You're not wrong. Also have to deal with a lot less headaches with a lot less people, I imagine.
Yeah, for the most part. Like,
Sure.
I miss visiting my sister in the city and, abusing her high-speed internet to play Street Fighter or download whatever update. But,
Sure.
take the good with the bad.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. There's you can't really put a price on peace of mind, and sometimes living out in the middle of nowhere will give you exactly that.
Well, it's internet-wise, I got the best at what I can get right now.
Sure.
And that's that, and there's not much I can do about it. It gets to the point where it's like, well, it's cloudy, it might be shit today. I don't know.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Elon Musk is wanting to give satellite internet to everybody, and I'm like, I suspect there may be a problem here.
That Starlink or whatever I think it's called Starlink. My roommate was looking into that, and I told him I'd be halfers for it if it works. I've heard a friend of mine said his brother has it or something, and it works good. But if that's less off my data plan, off my phone, and then
Sure.
better than anything that's being offered out here, why not? I'll give it a try.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it's very interesting how companies like Tesla and Google are trying to give, or like they're sort of like the champions of getting internet out to the masses, especially in third world countries, which is a very noble goal, but at the same time, it's we live in a society where the devil's in the details. Is just what's the name of your devil. Because everybody has
True
something,
enough.
Yeah, everybody has something wrong. For all the good and all the building of society that companies do, there is also a lot of shade, and it's just I find Elon Musk a very comical character to follow, because no one person should be simultaneously that adept and that inept as a multi-billionaire.
Oh yeah, but it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, in the train wreck sort of way, and waiting for the days that Fury Road will open up.
The silver lighting of this of stuff like Starlink, it does kind of light a fire under internet companies' asses right now, because
Yes.
they have to compete with that.
Yep, and it's right now we live in a country where for so long the duopoly of so out here it's Comcast, and then there's the other one. What is it? Time Warner is the other big like duopoly. But yeah, it's there needs to be alternatives. There needs to be options. We live in a 2021 where AEW is doing that, lighting fires under asses for WWE, and it's glorious to watch. But yeah, it's there's a 2021 and the fallout from everything going into 2022 is going to be It's going to be very interesting to watch. Some of it for Schadenfreude reasons, but some of it for practical reasons as well. You have where the one I'm most looking for is California is the first state to challenge Amazon-like companies with their quota system.
Interesting.
Yeah, California is the one that's lighting the fire under that particular ass. And even though I've only had one job where quota performance was based on whether you stay hired or not, and that was when I worked with a call center for a major cell phone carrier company. Outside of that, quota usually falls in the I'm sorry, it's not quota in that case, it's hour allocation, where apparently the powers that be can only divvy so many hours to so many employees for certain departments, and then that can change from week to week. I survived 2 years at Kroger that did that. I worked a holiday season with Best Buy that did that. That part's not fun.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Well, anything that doesn't have steady shift work, that'll mess with your head eventually.
Yes, it does. I have definitely been on. I've had my fair share of that for sure. But yeah. Anything else you want to plug for the moment before I continue with the stream cutting demonstration of how Renegade Roundup is made?
I really don't got that much to shill.
That's
you
fair.
can visit me at Captain Supreme on Twitter. Check out my pixel artwork if you're interested in that sort of thing. I also have Street Fighter 2 pixel art designs available on by fans for fans.
Nice.
I now have a coffee mug design, which, if you're a coffee
Sweet.
enthusiast like me and you like your Street Fighter, it's a. I'm not awake enough to shill a promo right now, is what
No,
I'm trying to say. But
that
if you like
is-
coffee and Street Fighter, check it out.
That is very fair. One last thing I want to pick your brain about real quick. First impressions on the Nick All-Stars game.
I'm interested. Where's Angry Beavers?
That was my question. It's you have Helga. Why not Arnold? Is
Okay,
another-
I just saw Helga this morning, but I haven't seen any gameplay. I'm going in it pretty cold. I just saw Ren and Stimpy on one of Max's quick videos
Yep.
on YouTube the other day.
Yep. His most recent one, they actually finally do have a breakdown of Helga and Michelangelo. The one prior to that was Leonardo and April.
Oh wow, I wonder if they're gonna put all four turtles in there.
That would be cool. I think Leo and Mike are the only two that are confirmed so far. But yeah, I would imagine down the road they'll probably get the other two turtles in there. But right away,
And that beat 'em up they're working on looks so damn cool.
yes, it does. Shredder's Revenge,
Yeah.
where you actually get to play as April, and it has all of these Street Fighter references to her. It's pretty rad.
Yeah. Any well animated pixel art catches my eye instantly because I love how that looks in motion. Never mind that it's Ninja Turtles, and I'm a huge Turtles in Time fan.
My ears usually perk up when I see tribute games associated with it, because I have been following them since Wizorb days back in the PSP. They do a lot of
Yeah,
good
they've
stuff.
come a long way, and they've put out some stellar stuff.
Absolutely. You know what I didn't piece together until recently? The new was it the new Streets of Rage? No,
Streets of Rage 4?
There was that one. I thought there was a game that popped up not too long ago. I just have the urge to pull up the browser, but I know for stream viewers that won't be great. That's what it was. Windjammers 2. The same
yes.
the same animators behind Super Dodgeball Beats. That's another game that I highly recommend looking into. It's a rhythm
Is
game.
that on the Switch? I think I seen it, but I haven't tried it out yet.
Possibly. I played it. I bought it on PS4. Um, Let me go ahead and Google that real quick. Super Dodgeball Beats.
To Nintendo. Get your groove on with Super Dodgeball Beats, the world's most intense rhythm sports game. Take part in insanely cool dodgeball games played to the rhythm of 18 original music tracks. Conquer
Oh, so
your
it's
rivals in
dodgeball and
style
rhythm.
with
Okay.
perfect rhythm and sweet moves.
Thank you,
And
Google.
sweet moves.
And sweet moves, yes. Yes, it is available on the Switch.
I might be thinking of a different one where it was kind of set up like as a dodgeball RPG. But hey, more dodgeball games. That ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right, right. We all need a little bit of dodgeball that doesn't involve actual dodgeball.
Yeah, I don't miss the borderline taste of the ball getting smoked in the face.
See, also, having been avid glasses wearer since 4th grade, I do not miss having dodgeball smashed to face, which means ball into glasses smooshed into face.
I was kind of lucky as a kid because we didn't have the big rubber dodgeballs, like, but we didn't use them for dodgeball. We had these sponge balls.
Oh,
So
okay.
like super light, super soft, unless you're, like 90% of everybody who plays competitively in these, where you
Yep.
push all the air out and you can throw it, throw it so fast and so hard.
If you can throw a sponge, you can throw a ball.
If you can dodge a sponge, you can dodge a ball.
That one too, yes. Man, I need to rewatch that. I have been going on a Jack Black binge as of lately. I just recently watched School of Rock for the first time, and I'm like,
Oh, wow.
I have really deprived myself of School of Rock because it's fantastic.
I haven't seen that in a few years, but yeah, it's definitely a good movie.
It was definitely the feel good movie that I needed at that time, for sure.
Fantastic.
All right.
Speaking of Jack Black, what do you think about that Nintendo Mario casting?
I'm probably going to be in the minority and say I hate everything about this project. Because
I'm not gonna lie, there's a sprinkle of that. When I heard Chris Pratt as Mario, like much a lot of people probably went, what?
Mm-hmm.
And like Charles Martinet is right there.
Charles
You could have
Martinet.
advertised it as Super Mario as Super Mario.
So I think what they're trying to do is that weird role reversal thing where Charles Martinet is going to be an actual person like the Stan Lee in that movie is what I project. But
Oh, okay. I didn't even think of it that way. I figured there'll be like Wario and Waluigi on the side for one or two scenes.
that'd be amazing too. But yeah, also it's for me it's just I mean, I understand Illumination does great stuff. I mean, they're responsible for Despicable Me, the Grinch CG movie, which I absolutely love that one. I actually prefer. Here's a weird thing for you. I found that there is a particular generation gap where people think that there's some younger people that think that the Jim Carrey Grinch is the superior Grinch. I'm here to say you're wrong. It's the Illumination one.
The Jim Carrey Grinch is an entirely different flavor of Grinch.
Yeah,
It's fun in its own way, but
it doesn't.
but-
It doesn't supersede the classic in my mind.
no.
Plus,
Yeah,
plus,
Even, how many years since it came out, I love the original Grinch.
plus also it's like for me, hot who that all the guys are trying to get with. That's a weird flex for me. That's because remember that came out.
That's what I think about when I think of Christmas.
Yes. You think about stocking stuffers and all that. But yeah, no, that also came out shortly before Michael Myers as Cat in the Hat. That was a weird time for kids films.
Oh yeah, that was a weird movie.
Yep. That could
I
be
remember
a whole. Yes, go ahead.
babysitting some friends, kids of mine, and that's what we watched. And I'm just sitting there going, okay. And I'm the adult in the room, and I'm like, I wouldn't show this to kids,
Yep.
but all right.
Well, also technically my stepsister, uh, basically showed her kids horror films like the classic Freddy Krueger and that sort of stuff. So the rules of parenting apparently no longer apply. We live in a world where YouTube Kids is effectively a glorified babysitter for some households.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be
You're
because
right.
the amount of stuff that squeezes through that isn't kid friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just had a talk with this about with a friend of mine with his kids and
Yeah,
how just stuff will sneak onto the recommended tab.
yeah. That
But
whole
like yeah,
Elsa
I hear
thing.
where you're coming from.
Yeah, that whole Elsa thing where like I don't know. It's like how can you be so oblivious to your kids' needs that you just let that go on autopilot and let the algorithm take care of your kids for you.
Yeah.
This coming from a generation that grew up at 4 or 5 years old watching such Don Bluth classics like The Secret of Nim and An American Tale, and such horrifying classics like The Brave Little Toaster. I still have nightmares about that clown.
I like the Brave Little Toaster. That's me though.
But like if you go back and watch it now, there's a lot of really dark things that went over your head as a kid.
Oh, absolutely. Watching anything old, the stuff that didn't click with you as a kid, and just
Yep.
kind of letting it hit you. Uh,
The
I'm
vacuum,
trying to
the
think of a
vac,
good example.
the vacuum eating his own cord.
Okay. uh, I was just trying to remember this one Porky Pig cartoon. It was like on Teletoon Retro or something one
Mm-hmm.
day, and the setup is Porky's trying to catch a mouse. He sets up this elaborate trap, and it doesn't work out. Porky gets knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
Porky wakes up to the mouse bringing in a guillotine, and I'm like, wow, this got dark fast.
Because it worked for Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Tom and Jerry, the darkest cartoon in the history of ever, where Tom actually dies and has to make amends with Jerry, and there is a Satan bulldog telling him, "Come on in, the water's great."
I wasn't expecting that pull. I was thinking from the first movie where they do like a little sword fight gag and like Tom gets sliced up and he's
Yep.
red on the inside. Why is that there?
You got to have your steak medium rare.
I suppose so.
Yes. But
Oh, you were talking about just casually starting up fighting games. You ever play the Tom and Jerry fighting game?
wait,
I will take that response as no.
there's a Tom and Jerry fighting game?
It was either on, it could have been on the 64 or PlayStation, or maybe it was a GameCube game. I want to say it was like
God.
Fists of Fury or something like that. It was an arena fighter.
Oh. Oh no. Were they
Oh
trying to
yeah,
were they trying to cash in on that Shrek audience?
possibly. I remember renting it once and going, "Okay, I will never rent this again."
Mm-hmm. It's like, I would like my $6 back, please.
Well, that was a weekend.
That was a weekend, yeah. But
Yeah.
you know what? It stings a lot less than having to have actually bought the thing full retail.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Gosh, I think again, I'm not. I don't know how old you are, but like I was born in '85, so I grew up with a Hollywood Video in my neighborhood, and so every weekend I would get PlayStation games from there, and that sense of discovery going through like Darkstalkers, X-Men versus Street Fighter, all that stuff is really good. But there's some turds in that basket. See also the Star Wars fighting game for PlayStation 1.
I can't say I've ever had the pleasure, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah. So when I was younger, and just for age gap, I'm 30 right now myself, so we're not
Okay.
that far
Okay,
apart.
sure, sure.
But I had similar thing. My town did have a game and movie rental place,
Hmm.
and so like that was really beneficial for me, especially with my background of loving the classics. He had an extreme amount of NES and SNES games, so that was how I got into fighting games. Was Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha, Mortal
Sure.
Kombat 2, and then later you pick and choose what he had kind of a sparse selection of PlayStation games. So I think I never got to really try out Darkstalkers until more came more readily available with the
Sure.
internet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like classics like that. It's growing up. It's nice to have that resource.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, it's and then there are few joys like discovering things you never knew about right when a mom and pop rental place closes down. I still have a few VHSs from a mom and pop shop that closed down. I still have my original OVA of Battle Angel Alita. And that particular mom and pop shop, I remember I had very fond memories of discovering Dragon Ball through. Discovering Dragon Ball Z through Dead Zone and Tree of Might. And
Oh
that
wow,
and
yeah.
that was, I think, before even Toonami aired those particular movies.
I remember like since I'm in Canada, we had YTV, and I remember early
Mm-hmm.
'90s they had. I never saw it until I was older, but they had commercials for Dragon Ball, like the original.
Original. Mm-hmm.
And at that time, you know, I'm 4 or 5 years old. I don't know what anime is.
Sure.
And between that, it was also Sailor Moon, I think, was coming
Mm-hmm.
out around the same time. To me, it was just like, oh, this cartoon just looks a lot more expressive. Okay.
Sure.
And then it was later where I was lucky enough where we got cable and YTV, and they would have, Dragon Ball Z marathons. And the big two they would show was Tree of Might,
Mm-hmm.
World's Strongest Team,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and the Bardock and Trunk specials.
Nice.
Yeah, and the Bardock special is what made me a diehard Bardock fan.
That's cool. That's real cool. I don't. I think I caught Bardock much later. For me, like my peak time of exposure, besides those very early movies, was I pretty much completely stopped during the first run. I completely stopped following at the end of the Perfect Cell arc because I thought that would have been a perfect place to cut off at and basically like the Great Saiyaman, like back then it just really trailed off and really petered off my interest.
Yeah, that was a dropping off point for me and my friends too.
Mhm.
But then after that, you get to the fights on the ship against Babidi and whatnot.
Mhm.
So when Dragon Ball Z was being played on cable for me and my friends, we had a joke where we could tell when they were dubbing the episodes by the amount of time they would show new episodes and then trail back to old episodes. So you'd have that, gap of episodes. So we always joked, "Oh no, back to Raditz. It's going to be a while before new episodes."
Yep. Because that's how it
And
used to work back then. You didn't have this simulcast world premiere all over the place like you do now.
yeah. Oh, it was I was kind of lucky because my it was kind of weird. My dad kind of liked watching it too. So like Mondays it would be
That's cool.
Dragon Ball and then Raw. So that's
That's
kind of
rad.
where I got into wrestling too. And even he would joke about back to Raditz.
That's funny.
Yeah. And one last thing for the whole Dragon Ball thing, since you are American, my friend, right?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm out of the Seattle area.
Okay. Check out the differences between the Canadian and the US versions of the Dragon Ball intro. Because you had Rock the Dragon.
We did.
We just had Dragon Ball Z repeating. Both are good in their own merits.
Okay, I will have to look into that.
I won't try and butcher it, but I'll give you a little preview where you had, Rock the Dragon, dun,
Uh-huh.
Dad, we had Dragon Ball Z. Got
Oh,
you hyped.
that's
Got you hyped.
yes, that sounds fantastic. That sounds really, really great. So basically, what it sounds like is Wooly's eulogy for Reboot struck home with you.
I did see that, but I wasn't as big as a Reboot fan as Wooly was. I did, you know, 3D in the 90s was a big thing. So
Sure.
there was Reboot and Beast Wars,
Beast Wars,
or Beasties here in Canada.
Yep.
I was more of a Beasties fan.
I have found out through Toy Galaxy that Pogs were called something different depending on where you live.
Uh, for me, they were Pogs.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was a US Canada difference or if it was like a US UK difference. So that answers that question.
Yeah, like, would they be called like Slammers or something? I've never actually heard of a
I
definite
think
alternate thing for Pogs.
I think it was called like Fun Caps, something like that.
Oh, maybe. That does sound kind of familiar.
Hold on, let me see if Google might be able to answer. What were Pogs called? Not pugs.
Here is information from Wikipedia.
I don't want to know about pug dogs. Pogs. Pog Federation, milk caps. I think it was just called Fun Caps. I'll have to go through the episode. But yeah, if you haven't already, Toy Galaxy is probably one of my favorite little nostalgia holes to go through. I started watching it when they featured Big Bad Beetleborgs, and they just
Oh, wow.
yeah, talk about like dormant nostalgia in the back of your head that you haven't thought about in years. And he goes through all of it. We're talking like obscure Power Rangers ripoffs, to obscure Transformers ripoffs. Just recently, he talked about the Transformers movie, and I didn't realize how many children were crying in theaters, and how that was the initial goal from Hasbro was to ultimately kill off Optimus Prime to replace him.
Yep.
But that didn't work out so well the first time.
That's also the reason, if you ever caught the G.I. Joe movie, why Duke gets stabbed in the heart with a cobra and goes into a coma.
Yep, he was supposed to have died, not being
and
in a coma.
at the very end of the movie, oh, hey, Duke's okay.
Yep.
Go,
Same-
Joe.
Yep, go Joe. Same thing with they had to re-edit Optimus Prime, or at least the power of Optimus Prime coming back, because Optimus Prime lives in all of us. Yes. But
I won't say it messed me up, but like they have that whole sequence with him coming in with "You Got the Touch" and just wrecking everybody.
Yep.
And then, you know, he hands off the Matrix and turns gray. It's like, oh wow.
yep.
Yeah.
Stirrings for many a young lads and lasses that followed the adventures of the Autobots. But yeah, no, I appreciate this short little like mini Renegade Roundup session. I do appreciate your time this morning and joining us for this. And
Yeah, no problem, man.
yeah, I appreciate
My
your time.
pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have to talk again soon.
Yeah, sounds good. I guess I'll see you later.
Yeah, and actually, like, well, do you have anything planned, like, for the day at all? Like, I don't want to keep you from anything if you do have plans.
I'm gonna probably start running some errands in a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, no problem. I'm actually going to be catching wrestling shows tonight and tomorrow, so
Yeah, that's one thing I want to do is try and catch Rampage from last night.
yes, I've been hearing all kinds of good things about that particular exchange, especially given how Dynamite went earlier in the week, and just yeah, a lot of good things happening in wrestling right now. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan.
Oh, for good and bad, yeah. I
Sure,
personally
sure.
I can't watch Raw anymore, but I look forward to AEW every Wednesday.
Yes, yes, I think there's a huge paradigm shift that comes to, we don't have to be complacent with with your filler every week. You can actually
Yeah.
get like a hearty meal in wrestling right now, which is very exciting to see.
Hmm. Also, I find that like with Raw being 3 hours, I can't dedicate 3 hours, especially to what they're putting out.
The way that I was able to get around that for the longest time was Hulu would truncate to a 90-minute supercut of the episode that would air the following day. But WWE has, by the end of the year, terminated that partnership, which, if anybody knows about navigating WWE on Peacock, apparently SmackDown didn't exist until 2019, and Monday Night Raw didn't exist until 2008.
Then what the hell was I watching?
I don't know. It must be like that. It must be that Mandela effect. We thought we were watching something the whole time. Yeah, it's definitely a Black Mirror society when Black Mirror says that we can't write anything scarier than what's currently happening right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Mandela effect, you're an old wrestling fan. Maybe you can clear this up for me.
Okay.
Because, like, do you remember if during old WWE shows, like TV shows, if they had sound effect stickers over chair shots, like the old Batman sitcom stuff? Not sitcom, but like the old Batman
Oh,
show,
you're talking
where it'd
like
be
an
like,
actual like Biff,
"Bam!"
talking about like an actual Biff graphic.
Yeah.
I could not recall something like that happening. I think it was depends on how far back you're going, because for me my peak time of watching was '02 to '07. So
Okay.
during that time I would say no. But crazy zoom cam technology of recent years might have left the impression that perhaps that was something they experimented with.
Okay, and yeah, this would have been early 90s. Like, my dad was into wrestling more than I was at that time, and I could, I'm 4 or 5 years old. I don't know who
Sure.
anybody is.
Sure.
But the one thing that sticks out in my head was I almost want to say it's like Rock giving Yokozuna a chair shot, and then there's a big blammo thing across the screen.
Was it maybe that particular episode was sponsored by Blammo? They make log.
Perhaps. 4-year-old me wouldn't be able to tell an ad from a wrestling event.
Correct. I would probably say, so just to give you an idea, my first exposure, like ever, like willingly sitting down to watching wrestling, was it was either a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania party back in like 2000, 2001, because on the show I've mentioned that my first most vivid memory was watching Jeff Hardy fly off of a 20-foot ladder onto a table with Bubba Ray Dudley. So,
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
yes. So I think before then I may have seen flickers of it, when changing the channel, but nothing like actively sitting down. Like the first character I ever gravitated towards was Goldust back in 2002.
That's kind of funny because that was my dad's guy back in the day.
Dustin still has it, man. He can still go.
Yeah, he still got the moves.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
For me, I think it was Bret Hart, just for having like, oh, he's Canadian, and that
Sure.
being a little kid from a little town out in the country, it's kind of makes the world a little bigger.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely Bret Hart had that effect on people. He definitely wanted to be like the Captain Canada, if you will.
Yeah,
I think that was probably a goal that he strived towards, but I might argue Lance Storm did that better.
there's some classic Lance Storm bits too. Yeah, like, he was my favorite B wrestler.
Sure, sure. Everybody has an A and everybody has a B, and there's some times where you gravitate towards the the path less traveled, if you will. Like, I still, to this day, wish that Mordecai got more of a push, but I understand the backstage politics as to why he didn't.
Yeah, there's a lot going on back there, like especially on WWE's end.
But how cool would it have been to have like a holy Undertaker versus the Lord of Darkness, the Undertaker? You know, the closest thing we
Yeah.
got to that was the promo build between Shawn Michaels and HBK for WrestleMania 25 when he came out as a heavenly angelic version of the Undertaker, which I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Path not taken though.
Yeah, path not taken with that. Path not taken with Taker and Sting.
Mm-hmm.
So much money left on the table with that. You have that, and then just Bray Wyatt.
You know, I was never the biggest Bray Wyatt guy, but then again, I only got back into watching WWE in the past year and a bit.
Okay,
So
sure.
I came in pretty late on that.
Yeah, so just to give you an idea, he was very... I mean, you probably have seen clips and vignettes of, like, his earlier stuff when he looked like something from The Hills Had Eyes. You know, when he was...
Yeah, I remember him tagging with Matt Hardy for a bit, and what was it, like the Devourer of Worlds?
the Devourer of Worlds, yeah, the Eater of Worlds and all that.
Yeah.
Really, his peak time frame was when he had the Wyatt family with him. That was Luke Gallows, formerly Brody Lee, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Eric Rowan.
Eric Rowan, that's the other one. And then shortly after that, very early, Braun Strowman as the Black Sheep.
Right, right.
And that was the time frame that I remember the most. That was when he was building his feud with Jericho, where he would just speak in incoherent rhetoric. But when you go back and look at that now, it was actually piecing together and foretelling the Fiend and Sister Abigail. So he was way ahead of his time with that. But the thing that I will always remember is like when just, you know, he started calling his followers his Fireflies. That was when it just started, where, you know, you put the light up on your phone and you're a firefly in the darkness of the room. He I think just he had the crowd so much in the palm of his hand that he talked about a story about how there was a teacher that said that he would never be enough. You know, like silly promos that you would cut in, you know, mid 2010s WWE. But the moment that he said, "I'm here and the teacher is now 6 feet underground, I have the whole world in my damn hands," and then the crowd just starts singing, "He's got the whole world in his hands," and that started the big push, and why it was he had all of this arsenal and all of this movement behind him, and that's why it was so infuriating that Cena still won despite all of that, because everything in that story was telling that Wyatt was going to get over on him.
Yeah, the second you have I'm trying to think of the right word, not reaction, but you have that resonance with the crowd, that you're somebody that they want to succeed, that they relate to.
Correct.
Yeah, there should be more.
I agree, and that was especially a very, I would argue that probably left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, because for me personally, it was at that point, and then going into, I forget what they called it, but when effectively Stephanie and Triple H were figureheads, you know, they did away with general managers, and it was you know, the Federation or whatever it was called. You know, that's leave that in the past. I don't want to take that all back up, but it was at that point that you realize that, you know, the company is going to push who they are going to push. Oh, you thought you had an opinion? Well, sorry to disappoint you. You know, to excuse you, you have an opinion on what we do, on the superstars that we push? What? 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 What?
Yeah. In a business, especially like wrestling, where your fans are the lifeblood of it, there has to be more give and take than just,
I
no,
agree.
we're going to push this person and you're going to like them. Buy their shirts.
Yeah. Think about how much resentment people had for Roman Reigns until he
Oh, yeah.
finally turned heel and did something cool. You know, it's
So that's how I heard about Roman Reigns when I dropped out, is just like, yeah, they keep trying to push this guy and nobody wants him. So the clip that I saw was with The Rock holding his hand up and they're booing The Rock, booing
Yep.
Roman Reigns.
And especially I love the responses after that where The Rock still has that eyebrow, but it's more in the way of, what is this noise? I've never
What?
heard this noise before. Are they saying woo? It's like Ric Flair's not out here. But yeah, it's WWE is gonna WWE, and I'm just so glad that AEW is doing so many good things and giving so many people such great opportunities. Again, I'm from Seattle, so I especially root for them because Ref Aubrey is from my hometown. Darby Allin is from my hometown.
Nice.
Also, little nugget, in NXT, Isaiah Swerve Scott was originally Shane Strickland from my hometown.
Wow.
So there's a lot of big things that are happening. Just to give some other local names that have been tearing it up from my home promotion. I don't think Jeff Cobb got his start here, but he was definitely a big household name starting in my hometown. Jeff Cobb. Brody King is another one that's tearing it up. I know there's a few others that got called up. Actually, one of my favorite all-time matches was Leo Rush versus Shane Strickland. That's hard to say this morning. Leo Rush had a 30-minute gauntlet of a match with Shane Strickland, and this was before he was getting called up to NXT. And I still have, like, he's known as the Man of the Hour, and he had specifically the 11th hour shirt. That was specifically because he just got word not too long ago he was getting called up. So a lot of cool things happen. And if you want to know where the next generation of stars are coming from, check out your local promotions. Check out all the names that I talk about on a regular basis on the Renegade Roundup, because there are going to be some names that are household names today that are going to be national names tomorrow. And it's such a cool
absolutely.
thing to see.
Like, everybody's got to start somewhere, and good for Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle has the ups right now. If you want to look at the next big names, check out some of the Seattle promotions. So yeah, I'll be going to Defy Wrestling tonight, and tomorrow I'll be going to Without a Cause. That's going to have some good names in there. The one I'm looking forward to on Sunday is Veda Scott versus Rebel Kell. Rebel Kell is another homegrown woman that is kicking so much ass. You probably have seen her tear it up in. She's made a couple appearances in Champion Wrestling in Memphis. I know there's a lot of other stuff. Another big name that's been making the rounds of lately, GCW has been featuring Nick Wayne. He's a Seattle guy, and he's only 16 years old and is able to do what he does.
Wow.
Yeah, he's going places. We're all rooting for him. But yeah, any other thoughts or plugs or things you want to gush about before I let you go for right now?
I got nothing to really push. I'm trying to get some stuff done in the short while. My big aim is to get my commissions reopened so I can start doing those again.
Sure.
In time, though, because the whole, like with yourself, I work a 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday. Sometimes longer, sometimes more, and sometimes I just don't have the energy to work on
Correct.
stuff. But I'm trying, little by little.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I hope you have a good weekend, my friend. Enjoy your
Yes.
shows.
Yes, you as well. Thank you very much for coming on, and stay safe out there, okay?
You too.
All
Take
right.
it easy.
Yeah, you as well. Later. Bye. Boop. And then we usually hang up that call. We're going to end that call. Hung up. Perfect. Let me just check real quick to make sure this is all working. Perfect. I see. Yeah, how's it going, everybody? Perfect, perfect. And so what usually happens at this point is we have recordings are done, upload is complete. And what I'm able to do is go to my dashboard. And we're going to view recordings. And it didn't save, probably because I didn't, well, I don't know. Anyway, so what usually happens is I take the WAV files. So this actually does a really great job of breaking these up individually. And like I said,
Schnezzy.
and see, that actually comes through really good. He's got a mic set up. It's pretty great. I'm just kind of darting through a little bit.
Schnezzy.
I might use it as a notification. That sounds fantastic. But yeah, what I usually do is I take these individual files. It's pretty snazzy. And then what usually happens is, and see, that comes through pretty well. What sometimes happens, though, let me double check something real quick. Yeah, no, that's working good. Okay. What sometimes happens, though, is that probably was such an eyesore for all of you. I am so sorry. So what usually happens is I take these clips and I import them over to DaVinci Resolve. And it's free, and I don't have to pay Adobe money to do it. And so it does basically what I want it to do. Where did, like, my chat notification go? So just to give an idea, for example, this is one of the episodes I'm currently working on right now. And I'll just pop them in here, and I will work on, you know, I love scrubbing. I love scrubbing. It's pretty great. So and I felt bad, and that's exactly why, not too long ago we had so as you can probably tell, a lot of the time when I'm doing this kind of work, I tend to remove pauses. I tend to remove stutters. I do my best to remove uhs.
The pandemic time, so
Sure.
wasn't
That's
doing
fair.
anything. So I think for me about 6.
And so this is actually pretty good audio quality right here with Cade and Cassidy. I have had some, again, no fault of their own. I'm not gonna say, a lot of the edits are, bad or whatever. Sweet onion sauce, and you get like the spice and so, like, for example, the part right there where I say the, I will that's usually something that I will fine tune in the second part of post that I will show shortly. Yeah, usually a lot of this is just like volume control. And then sometimes what will happen is, so with Riverside, people need to make sure that you have there's the option there that says I am using headphones, I'm not using headphones. Sometimes people skip that, and that's fine. But what happens is I then have to take out echoes that will happen. So what will sometimes happen is, do I have... No, don't make a new project. Can I open a project? I might have to close out of it again. Okay. So sometimes what will happen, let's see if I can pull up an older project. I was working on Flex Part 2, MVCI Stinger. real stuff. Let's just say in the example of the Nick Radford interview. Oh, that's way early in there. So you'll notice all of these cuts that I make are individual cuts, because sometimes what'll happen, you can use influence for good. You can use it to, you know, as Brian Zane put it. So one of my big things that I will sort of zoom in and focus on is things like echoes on the recording, and then mouth pops. That's just a personal thing of mine. It's a human thing, I get it, but I want to try to remove as many things that might detract a podcast listener as possible. So I will just try to fine-tune, you know, as fine-tune like little mouth pops like that. And you can see that as lengthy as these are, I mean, these are on average an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. And I'm having to make all these individual cuts. See, like that mouth pop right there. I would have had to edit that out in post. And then once I have done all this, then comes the next part of going into something like WavePad. And the other one that I'm currently working on, for example, which this one took a little bit more time, because normally what I like to do is I like to play cheeky and insert a sound clip. So, for example, you've seen this with How Much in Bison Dollars. You've seen this with a couple other episodes. I think I did it for Leet as well, where I put in like a Street Fighter parry sound or whatever. Very early on, I was using Terry Bogart's "Burning," but that just peaked and popped a little bit too much for my liking, so I changed that. So what I will do is, you know, I'll go through here. Want me to watch Power Rangers? And I love. Let me see if I can turn that down. Jesus. Here we go. Volume.
He switches that on, dude. So
a little bit. You mentioned at about like 5 or 6 years old, you got into trouble for watching pro wrestling. So here's a part right here, for example. That deep breathing sound ties in perfectly with. What I will do is I will go into a part that I know that I have made like a blank weaves. Yeah, white. So like that part right there where I have like a blank spot that I've like completely removed all sound from. And that also comes from the previous editing where like when there's a complete gap. So I will go through there and the hashtag Twitch do better. Deep breathing right there. And then to try to make it sound as natural of conversation as possible, I might put now with the hashtag Twitch do better thing that's been taken out. For example, is another thing that I will meticulously, and I mean meticulously, and again, I'm being transparent about the process because I feel it's important to know. It's like, hey, it's been 3 weeks since an episode. Why have you not? It's because I haven't had the energy to just not. I haven't. No, it's not ending. There we go. But yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it. Is it's a bit of a process for me to muster to do. So I do appreciate your patience with all of that. But additionally, the final thing as well, like I mentioned, is that after those 2 episodes are done, which, yes, be on the lookout for Zebediah Saint, and then after that, Caden Cassidy. Those are going to be the 2 final episodes for Season 1. And at that point, I will take a break that I need to in order to fine-tune this machine a little bit, because I'm really impressed with what I was able to get done with these. It's going to be 13, 14 episodes because episode 0. But I know there's a lot to be done. Like I said, like a lot of this equipment right here. So just kind of go through, like, with the exception of this mic right here. This was gifted to me several years ago. I got the Focusrite box for it, got the mic stand. All of the equipment that I bought, the only reason that I was able to do this much with what I had was because of pandemic times and back pay from unemployment. That's literally the only reason that I've been able to go from when I was doing podcasts. Last time I attempted to do podcasts was with the Arcade Room, with Dragoon and Bubba way back when. And I'm sure a lot of you that are following my path right now have no idea who I'm talking about, and that's fine because it was that long ago. That was like 2015, 2016, maybe even early 2017 when all of that was taking place. Please, for the love of God, do not look it up. It is not great. It probably has not aged well. Not that we said anything that would cancel us, but at least I hope not. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Who I was then is not who I am now. But the important thing is that getting this machine to work costs this. And I don't have a lot of that right now, and I hope you appreciate what can be offered, and I do appreciate your time in allowing me to explain this to you. And yeah, I want this to do well, and I don't want to disappoint the people that have supported me in whatever little way that they can. That's, again, the long and short of it is I want this to be a good machine. I want this to be an operational machine, and just right now I can't do that with the resources that are currently available. It's really hard to make a living out there, and I want to make sure that I don't disappoint you. Well, and as well, the opportunities that should present themselves, I want to be able to be open for that. I still have aspirations. I want to go into actually in the ropes for pro wrestling. And I think with a lot of the things going on with SOS and everything else, there's a lot of opportunities that are being built for Washington State. And I want to be a part of that. But in order to be a part of that, I need to make sure that I am marketable for those venues. And right now, I'm not in a spot that I can say I am. In, as much as, like, I've been, the praise that I do get, I do appreciate that. And even the criticism I get, I appreciate that as well. I know that I am not the smoothest, velvety voice on the radios. Catch me on the airwaves. I have aspirations to do VO work. And that's a goal I want to push to help strengthen my brand, if you will. That's going to come with time. And with a lot of things going on in my life, I don't know how much time I got. I'm not, to my knowledge, everything health-wise is going fine for right now, but, life is a funny thing. That can change at any time. And life is too short, man. So I'm just putting out what I can, hoping the people will recognize me. And just make the most out of the opportunities that we get, So I'm not going to waste too much more of your time, but I do want to say thank you for being a part of this little, I mean, for lack of a better term, it is kind of a mini Renegade Roundup interlude episode until we get more of this out there. But I do hope that you are doing well. I hope you are staying safe. Remember that kindness is a choice. Be kind to each other, and you are your own priority, and you matter. In case you didn't know, my name is Soul, and we'll catch you next time, hopefully, when we get these episodes of Renegade Roundup out of the bin. And be good to each other until then. Stay safe.